Hello everyone, this is Taekwon Joe, and today I am officially doing the Life of Idiots Season 4 pre-season PowerPoint slideshow. Now, for those who haven't been watching my channel for very long or are unaware of this custom, right before I release a new season of the Life of Idiots, and this has been occurring since I released Season 2, I make a PowerPoint to show basically what I thought I did right or wrong in the previous season, and what I plan to do in the next season. So, we're going to be covering some pre-season ideas, goals, and plans this time around. If you see here, I made this art, this promotional art for Season 4. A lot of the ideas in here are from pre-planned episodes that I might make, but I can't entirely. This is mostly concept art, so I wasn't like I will guarantee this, you will see Nico in this season, and I will be talking about Nico a little bit down the line. However, this is kind of some concept art to kind of give you a general idea of the type of stuff that could have happened this season. If there's something here that interests you as an episode idea, then let me know. Also, if you see the Blue Heavy, you'll find out about him at some point pretty early on in the season. We'll just put it that way. It's going to be a pretty exciting episode. But, without further ado, let's get into the reflection. So, Season 3 reflection. Much like Season 2, Season 3 of The Life of Idiots greatly increased the stakes of the show, but this time, like never before. A whole armada of new characters were introduced this season, including Reina, Natsumi, Freddy Fazbear, Dr. Magnuson, Puro, Dr. K, Zanny, Kirena, Ukami, Aki, plus many, many more. Let me take a drink of coffee real quick. Ooh. Gotta get some coffee in the morning. Anyways, this was a greatly experimental season and introduced a lot of traditionally furry characters, a fact that I was once skeptical about but have since grown quite fond of. Yeah, believe it or not, back in the day, I'm one of those once anti-furry furries. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Yeah, back in the day, I used to be like there were two reasons why I didn't like furries. The first reason is I didn't want to get judged. Like, I didn't want to get bullied for liking Animal Crossing characters because I thought Animal Crossing characters were cool and I put them in my videos. And the second reason, the more valid reason, is there are a lot of people in the furry community who are a little bit but at the same time, there's also a lot of people in the furry community who are very kind. So, you kind of have to find the right people. And at the end of the day, this goes for any community. It even goes for weeaboos. But, moving forward, I took a lot of risks this time, but overall, I think in return, we got a lot of rewards and classic episodes. As originally intended, Season 3 had less specials than Season 2. However, the 4 specials, including the finale, that did exist, were extremely memorable and classic videos. The Season 3 episodes greatly increased my fan base, allowing me to reach new audiences, and I'm sure that many of those watching this video actually came from watching a Season 3 episode. I can almost guarantee that's the case. A lot of you here probably started during Season 3, or maybe after Season 3 in between the movie, and I know some of you might have started in Season 2. But, this will go down as my most transformative season of the pre-movie era. Also, I hit 100 episodes during this time, and finally adopted my first official logo for the show. Because prior to, like, at some point earlier on in Season 3, I didn't have the current, like, series logo with the house and the Life of Idiots. Before then, it was just, like, normal yellow text with a black outline. But, moving forward, let's move on to the pros and cons after I take another sip of my coffee. Coffee. Anyways, pros. This season is the only season so far that has 0 mediocre episodes, at least in my opinion. At worst, this season can have a decent or even good episode, one that is funny and certainly worth rewatching, but is overshadowed by other more interesting episodes. This is the first time that for an entire season the female characters felt like actual people, because, for a while, my acting for female characters was not the best. However, characters this season like Reina and Natsumi really helped me improve my vocal skills and how they act, because I want my female characters to be part of the madness. You know what I mean? Like, I have characters like Kirena and Reina who are, Kirina and Reina, who are kind of like the more goofy female characters. I want to have them be part of the fun too, and not just like, I don't want all of the female characters to be like Mary Sue's. And I think I did a good job at making them interesting and more diverse this season. My acting greatly improved during this season, and I am proud of how far I came since Season 2. Characters like Purro and Dr. K became very memorable, despite only being in 1 to 2 episodes this season. Uncle Grandpa becoming a beekeeper allowed for more jokes to be told about his shady business practices. On the concept of Uncle Grandpa, I have a lot planned for him. Not only this season, but also in future seasons, so look out for some Uncle Grandpa lore. You might notice his business is starting to become a little bit bigger, so we'll see how he's biggering this time around. See how bad can he be. This season was great at balancing the different characters and blending them well with the stories. Rosie, I spelled it Rose here, I think I made a typo, had a few good appearances this time around. Rosie was actually pretty neglected in Season 2, so I'm glad I was able to give her some appearances this season, even if she didn't show up very much. I think I'll talk about that in the cons a little. I got a lot better at not over-explaining Pound Town lore this season, allowing it to be baked in the episodes, so that was good. I have a bad habit of over-explaining lore, so I've been trying my best to be more subtle with it. And now moving on to the cons. Despite having no mediocre episodes, this season has some flaws. Despite showing up, characters like Isabel, Kid Kat, Lolly, and even sometimes Felicity, didn't have a lot of noteworthy moments this season. For Felicity, I felt like I could express parts of what was originally intended to be her personality in other characters such as Karina and Reina, and I will elaborate on why I did this choice in this season. Season 2 had some pretty good moments with Felicity. Felicity definitely shone the best in Season 2. However, the reason why I put less time into Felicity's character this time around is I felt like if I wanted a goofy or like a more jokey female character, I think I'd rather them be able to have like humanoid bodies so they can engage in more slapstick and like do more poses. So that's why I kind of shifted the focus to Karina and Reina. Although Reina was more used earlier on in Season 3, I want to bring Reina. I want to give Reina some more of the spotlight in Season 4. But we'll see how that happens. I'm mostly going to be focusing on the kimonos and other characters this season. But the success of these characters, plus their more human-like appearances, caused Felicity and other Animal Crossing characters to be overshadowed. Felicity shows up often, but her role in the show is greatly diminished, particularly in this season. And unless public demand demands otherwise, this is likely to continue until I can find something better to do with her. I mean, for those who watched the movie, and I mean, the movie's been out for a month now, so I'm gonna have to give a spoiler here. She and Luigi are officially a couple now, so maybe that could give some few episode ideas. We'll have to see how I can handle that. Though less like a lecture this time, my presentation of lore this season could have been better. Characters like Isabel, Kid Kat, and Nook had the potential to be good characters, but I didn't know how to use them. I actually ended off killing up Nook in the movie, however, I'm bringing him back this season. And I can say that without spoiling, because it's literally shown in the Season 4 theme song. I decided to kill off Nook in the movie because I felt like I could like bring him back in Season 4 and make him a better and more interesting character. And maybe even add a personality to the Nooklings. Which, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Last thing, some scenes could be a bit too corny, but perhaps that isn't always a bad thing. I also slacked off a lot this time around with uploading, something that I continue to do today. Now allow me to take a sip of my coffee before I tell you what's going to happen next. Alrighty. Now, we are going to be looking at the best and the worst episodes of Season 3. So, starting off with the best episode. Drum roll, please! Season 3, Episode 28, The Change Special. Honestly, I don't really know what else it could have been. The Change Special was by far my longest and most unique video that I have ever made up until that point. Had you told me in 2024 I would have made a masterpiece of a video from a transfer game, I'm not even into transfer. I just thought the lore of change was pretty interesting, and I found Purro to be a sympathizable character, but I digress. I would have called you crazy. But somehow I did it. Dr. K and especially Purro made this episode very endearing. Also, the alternate endings was truly something special. Perfection. Honestly, the change special was definitely one of my most risky videos, I guess you could say. Because I was debating. Sometimes I was like, I'm making a video about a transfer game, and I'm not even into transfer, but I kind of liked the plot. I found the plot of the game interesting, and I thought Dr. K'd be a pretty funny character to be like, he'll always give you the COVID vaccines and stuff. I like doing jokes like that. I think Dr. K works very well in the movie in particular, and how he interacted with Klaus Schwab, and how he wanted to build the New World Order. But honestly, I think Dr. K and Purro were just very good introductions this season, and though I didn't mention it, this episode was also the first proper introduction to Zanny, who's the protogen, the red protogen. So, I wanted to basically, I used that episode to introduce pretty much 3 new characters, although Zanny isn't often talked about. I'm glad I made the change special. I think it worked out very well, and I think it worked out within the realm of the show and gave me a lot more confidence to engage with these type of characters a lot more, and feel confident that my show can still remain the same charm with these characters, who often can enhance it. Now, moving on to the quote-unquote worst episode, which is Season 3, Episode 12, The Traffic Jam. Now, I could have put Season 3, Episode 4, which I felt might have been a little bit weaker, but at the time of making this last month, I put that one there. And I would say it's kind of near the bottom, but it is definitely not a bad video. Hold on. Ooh. Anyways. The Traffic Jam is technically the worst episode of the season, but it's definitely worth the watch. Minor Inconvenience Man and Reina were staples of this episode. The reason why it's ranked the lowest is due to being somewhat uneventful, but I can't really call it boring. I would still consider it a 7 out of 10 episode, so I'd recommend you guys give it a watch and see what you think. I personally think Season 3 is the only season thus far without any mediocre episodes. Season 1 had a lot of mediocre episodes. Season 2 had some mediocre episodes, but I don't think any episode in Season 3, at least personally, and it really tells something when you're willing to watch your own content as a creator. I, for one, think the entirety of Season 3 is worth watching, and I honestly could probably go and watch some of these episodes in my own free time, especially given they're a year old and I might have forgotten some certain jokes from these episodes. And it's always a treasure to go back and rewatch some of these golden episodes. But yeah, Season 3 was just a really, really good season, and I personally don't think there were any episodes that could have been considered bad. At worst, they were just okay. They were okay, definitely worth the watch, but not particularly anything special. And I think something can be said about the Traffic Jam in that regard. It was just one of the more unremarkable ones. If you guys have an episode that you think is your least favorite, I would like you guys to share it in the comments below, because I do value you guys' opinions, and I want to see what I could do better next time. But yeah, in general, I don't really regret making any episodes this season. Now, let's move on to the Season 4 plans. Characters and tone. So, hold on, let me drink some coffee. I'm almost out of breath. Sometimes I think I talk a little too quickly. Ooh. Alright. So, Season 4, like Season 3, will be a very experimental season. I will be introducing a lot of brand new cast members, including Nico and a new and reformed version of Tom Nook. As I said previously, I'm bringing him back to life. This time around, I will attempt to develop the show's iconic vibe and attempt to recapture the spirit of my late 2022 to mid-2023 videos, which were from the Luigi show and the Bus Duck era. So I'm going to go on a teeny bit of a tangent to understand why I idolize this era of my content. Now, as some of you may know, and many of you probably don't, in June 2023, due to private circumstances that I still really can't share, I had to quit my channel. It was not my choice. I did not want to quit. It was a very traumatic event for me, and honestly, I still don't think I fully recovered from it. Like, it completely set my mental spiral crazy. Like, it caused a lot of depression. But, prior to that, my videos were very, like, I was really good, and I still am now. I've gotten back to that speed, but it took me a while from when I started Taekwondo after I had to leave Buster Duck till, like, 2020, late 2024, early 2025. During that time, I was kind of trying to, like, recapture the old energy I had from those earlier eras. And I know the end of the movie, at the end of the Life of Idiots movie, there's the monologue that talks about this. So, if you want a good explanation of that, that's quick and easy, then you can go watch the End of Life Idiots movie. Granted, you watched everything else. But, you know, it's your choice at the end of the day. I can't force you to watch it or not to watch it. But, anyways, this era of Buster Duck was characterized by very good, like, the acting was very over-exaggerated. But in my opinion, this is some of the funniest shit I've seen on the goddamn internet. And, you know, I don't like glazing myself too much. Believe it or not, I actually don't. I kind of get a little shameful when I glaze myself too much. Because I feel like it's good to have a bit of a control over your own ego. But I just gotta say, personally, I believe this era of my channel to be, in my opinion, some of the funny, like, it's Filthy Frank level of comedy, pretty much. It's, in my opinion, it's really, really funny, and it shows that at the time I was still, like, very happy and youthful, and I still enjoyed life. Yeah. Yeah, basically that era of Buster Duck holds a special place in my heart, and I feel like it took a while for me to recapture that energy of my videos. And though the female character acting during that time wasn't great, I absolutely nailed the acting of characters like Fat Five-Year-Old, Boogeyman, Uncle Grandpa, and even Luigi. Like, Luigi acting like a deuce was kind of like a thing that happened back in the day. He was like a likable deuce. He was a bit of a deuce, but he was a likable deuce. He was like an anti-hero, I guess you could say. But moving on, I want this season to ramp up the acting and the comedy, especially how I over-exaggerated the emotions of my characters back in the day. Still, I want emotional moments to feel authentic, and for the show to be able to take itself seriously when needed. I may add Alula and Calamus from One Shot at some point. That's actually something I've been considering. However, they could be saved for Season 5. I'd have to figure out how I want Alula and Calamus to act, if I did add them in Season 4, but if I added them in Season 4, it would be later on in the season. But, I'm still got the idea out there, so if you want Alula and Calamus, then, hey, I might do it this season. If not, I'll do it next season. I plan to overhaul certain characters and make them a bit different this season. Kid Cat, Tom Nook, Dr. K, Isabel, and to a lesser extent even Fat Five-Year-Old, who will begin to act a little more juvenile and pouty, as well as he acts now. Basically, to talk a little bit about Fat Five-Year-Old. And I don't like going on tangents for too long, but I only do this to explain it to you guys. But back in the day, early days, like Buster Duck days, Fat Five-Year-Old acted a lot more like a kid. Like, a lot more juvenile, a lot more pouty. He did the... And he used to do this thing called the eat-er, where he went... or... And I want to do that more again, because that really captures, like, the old essence of what my content is. I want this season to be a celebration of everything I made, and I want it to make an undisputable golden age out of this season. So I want to bring back the best aspects of old Fat Fiver while also combining it with his new, like, Discord mod-esque personality. I want balance, that's what I want. With the introduction of Nico, I hope to give Kid Cat someone to interact with, besides for just Rosie. If I add Alula in the future, she could make a good friend for Nico as well. Kid Cat and Nico will likely be in Fat Five-Year-Old's friend group unless or until enough characters are introduced to create a new friend group. As I said and hinted towards previously, I do plan to add Timmy and Tommy as characters this season, who are Tom Nook's sons/nephews. This season will make great use of slapstick, irony, social commentary, and reaction-based comedy. I will also try to become more subtle with certain things. Settings and visuals. I will attempt to create a more colorful and cartoony vibe for the series this season, and in order to make it basically, oh fuck. I'm just gonna read that again. I will attempt to create a more colorful and cartoony vibe for the series, in order to make it feel more alive. The movie has helped me greatly improve my visual editing skills, and I've learned on how to contrast lighting with the environment much better than I did in Season 3. I plan to use lighting to express emotions more thoroughly. One of the biggest changes this season is that I'm going to be adding a whole bunch of new furnishings inside of school university. Breen's class will have a new teacher, while Dr. Kleiner and Mr. Fedora is the guy who wore the fedora, he's the history teacher, will remain the same but will have new furniture in their classrooms. This season will explore many new locations and will better enhance the story and give the characters more adventures to embark on. Episodes and specials. Kirinya. I like you right now. Anyways, Season 4, like the other 3 seasons, has been renewed for a batch of 36 brand new episodes. As of current, I only have 2 specials plans for this season, by far the lowest amount of any season. However, this is very likely to change. I may make a sequel to the Five Nights at Freddy's special from Season 3 at some point, or possibly a special retelling the stories from the Schreibel in a funny way. I've been wanting to make, and I did this in the Luigi show. Back in the Luigi show, I made a 3-part, not a 3-part, but like, across 3 different seasons, there was this special where it retold the stories in the Shrek Bible, like the Schreibel. And I want to do that in this show. I want to do, like, a funny special episode that tells, like, a lore of Shrek in, like, the Schreibel. And since Shrekism's, like, a funny religion, I can, like, make it as outlandish as possible. Especially when I combine it with the Pound Town. I can basically make it as outlandish as I want, which gives me a lot of creative freedom. One thing this season I plan to do, though it has been done before, is character arcs. This season will build up to a grand finale and all the character arcs will come to a head. I am very excited to share this season with all of you since I plan to use a lot of old ideas that I once used in the Luigi show, and maybe even previous seasons of this show, and I want to introduce them to my newer audience and improve them with my better editing and storytelling skills. This season, I'm going to do a lot of colliding. I'm going to do a lot of colliding with my old ideas that I had from previous shows and a lot of new ideas that I came up with recently. So this season's going to be a big melting pot, and it's definitely going to take the show in a very unique direction. However, if you like comedy, if you like the characters, then I think this will be a good improvement. Now, there's a special part of the slideshow that I have not told you guys about. I'm revealing the first 3 episodes of the season, baby! So, I decided this time around, to get you guys hyped for what's about to come, I'm going to reveal the first 3 episodes of Season 4, which will all be released either, if not on the same day, then within, like one day, the next day, and the next day. So, we'll have to see when I decide to premiere these episodes, but they will be premiering, in general, very close to one another. So, drum roll, please! Season 4, Episode 1, Fat 5-Year-Old Gets Lost. So, this is going to be a pretty long non-special, meaning that this episode's not technically a special, but it's going to be like 30-40 minutes long, because of how much stuff is going to be happening in it. I'm working on this episode right now, because this episode's been through production hell. But I'm telling you, the current version I'm working on right now is going to be really, really, really funny. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. And, yeah, this episode's gone through a lot in its production cycle. I can't exactly show you everything, but I will say there's a lot of ideas that I had to, like... I wanted to make this episode the best it could be. I wanted to make the best possible Season 4 introduction episode I could, so I put a lot of effort and a lot of, stuff into this episode. And to elaborate a little bit more on this, I'm going to be introducing some new characters. If you can see little there, you see there's Timmy and Tommy. And you can even see a little bit of Crazy Red. So that'll be very interesting. And I'm not going to spoil too much, I'm just going to say enough to get you excited. And I will say one last thing. Originally, I did not plan to add the change characters into this episode, but I decided since Purro, Dr. K kind of need their own little one-off story with, like, maybe Fat 5-Year-Old, I decided to put them in this episode, so they're going to tag along on the journey. I'm also introducing Tiger Shark Boy as an actual character, so that's going to be very interesting. I think I need some new characters, especially male ones. Season 4, Episode 2? I think a lot of you are going to be really excited for this episode. This is going to be a one-shot parody. It's going to be a rough parody. It's not going to exactly follow the storyline of the game. It's going to be very loosely based on it, but in general, it will have Nico be a focal point of the story and how Nico needs to deliver the sun to save the town, I guess. So yeah, this is going to introduce Nico to the cast. I think a lot of you are going to be really excited for that episode, and I'm very excited to show it. Season 4, Episode 3 is going to be the new grade. Now, this episode is going to introduce the new furniture at School University. So it's going to follow the stories of multiple different characters after School University gets remodeled. The main plot points will probably be following Yoshi, Kirena, and Boogeyman. That's kind of the main three. However, Luigi does have, like, a thing in the episode. I'm only telling you guys as much as to get you hyped about it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but you can look at the thumbnails and it'll tell you a little bit of what you need to know. But I don't want to spoil the episodes too much. I'm only going to tease them to you. Because, honestly, I'm getting there to finishing Season 4, Episode 1. Season 4, Episode 2 is already finished, along with Season 4, Episode 3. So all I need to do is to finish Season 4, Episode 1, and then decide when I want Season 4 to premiere. Because I'm going on vacation fairly shortly, and when I'm on vacation, I won't be able to make videos on Gary's Mod. I could make YouTube shorts. I could even make plush YouTube shorts. However, I won't be able to make videos, so I'll have to, like, finish this episode today. So that way I can get it out. But, yeah, in general, I will consider when I want to release these episodes. I may or may not make a trailer for this season. If I don't, then it's probably because I'm on a time crunch. If I do, then that'll be great and can get you a little more hyped. However, if I don't, for some reason, make a trailer, then I think this is a good trade-off. You guys get a little tease of what might happen. But, yeah, in general, I'm very excited to share this season with you all, and I think this season is going to take the show in a bold new direction. Kind of like how, you know how South Park got better after its first 3 seasons? I think the same is going to happen with The Life of Idiot. I think The Life of Idiot is going to continue becoming more funnier and more character-driven as the show goes on. And I really want Season 4 to give you some characters that you can really grow attached to, or, in the case of Fat 5-year-old, laugh at. But, in general, I think that's all I have to say. This video is getting pretty long. But, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and comment if you have any questions or would like to share any recommendations for the season. And, peace out!